Hello and welcome to another Huawei European Talk. Today our guest is Mr. Marco Lambertini, Director General of WWF International. Hi Marco.
Hi Angelika.
My name is Angeliki Dedopoulou and I'm working in the policy department of the Brussels office of Huawei, focusing on artificial intelligence and European Green related topics. Today's discussion will be about the links between the European Green Deal and the post-COVID recovery. As a brief introduction, Marco, could you please tell us what is the overall mission of WWF?
Yeah, so WWF, the Panda organization, that's our logo. It's an organization that effectively is a network of local leadership in operations scattered across more than almost in 100 countries. And our mission is for a future where people live in harmony with nature, a future where people and nature both thrive. And we are working on protecting species and biodiversity, on protecting natural places, important for the ecological balance of the planet, and reducing the footprint of human activities harmful to the ecology of the planet and ultimately to our own survival. And that's the excitement, I think, of the last few decades, where we are realizing that protecting nature is important for the fantastic biodiversity and wildlife we all want to protect on the planet, but also is increasingly important for our own future and the future of our children. So I'm very proud of the mission of the organization.
Thank you, Marco, for this interesting approach. And more specifically, I would like to ask you, what is the role of WWF when it comes to climate change commitments?
So first of all, it's almost impossible to overstate the threat the climate change, the climate crisis, in fact, is posing to the planet and to our society as well. We work in a number of ways about climate change. Perhaps let me summarize 3 key work streams. The first one is advocating leaders in governments and in business to commit to the science-based ambitions of halving emission by 2030 and achieving a carbon neutrality by 2050. This is what science is asking us to do in order to stay at 1.5 degrees of global warming. And so advocating government and business to commit and to take action to respect this overall climate goal is an important piece of work that we do across the world. The second one is actually working more specifically with companies through a science-based target for climate initiative together with other organizations, where we help companies to identify their carbon footprint and to develop plans to mitigate it in a way that they will contribute to the 2050 carbon neutrality goal of the Paris Agreement and the 1.5 degrees goal. And the third stream is more direct work, both through advocacy or direct operations, to actually support important natural habitats like forests or wetlands or marine habitats that are so important as carbon sinks. They are sequestering so much carbon today, and they are fundamental in our challenge to limit and climate change and limit global warming. So these are the 3 main, if you like, a summary, doing lots of things, but a summary of the 3 main streams relative to climate change work.
The whole world has been rocked by the COVID-19 pandemic, but organizations and governments worldwide have also stepped up with innovative solutions to try to help stem the spread of the virus, diagnose and treat the sick, and at the same time help the economy get back to normal. During a recent webinar organized by your organization and the OECD, speakers discussed how nature-based solutions can be part of recovery efforts in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Could you please tell us the position of WWF on this topic?
Yeah, so first of all, let me say that the COVID crisis has been a tragedy for all of us. The economy has been brought on its knees, and the most vulnerable strata of society has been affected even deeper across the world. So, but in all this tragedy, there is a big lesson. And the lesson is that we need to rebalance our relationship with the planet. And the economic recovery plans that are being discussed as we speak are a great opportunity to begin to shift financial investment in greening the economy. And that's where the learning from COVID-19 needs to be embraced by politicians and business leaders as well. And investing in nature-based solutions is one dimension of greening the recovery of the economy. Nature-based solutions is about protecting key natural systems like forest, wetlands, mangroves, many marine habitats that play an important role in both mitigating the rise of climate change by absorbing carbon or avoiding the release of carbon, but also help humans to adapt to the already existing very prominent impact of climate change, particularly the most vulnerable communities affected by extreme weather around the world. And so investing in these solutions is a key component. We're asking for government to prioritize nature-based solutions as an important component of the fight to climate change, but not just climate change. Protecting forests is also important to guarantee water security. Protecting biodiversity is important to guarantee the pollinators. They are so important for more than 2/3 of the crops that we grow and produce food for us, and so on and so forth. So nature-based solutions are more than just for climate, because frankly, we depend on nature more than nature depends on us, and our future depends on a future of a healthy planet and natural systems.
Do you believe that technologies like artificial intelligence can help biodiversity in a post-COVID period? And if yes, how exactly?
So, first of all, technology alongside policy regulation, but also culture and behaviors is one of the key pillars of the recipe to achieve a sustainable future. There are many examples already of technology helping developing sustainability. And in terms of biodiversity conservation, specifically in wildlife conservation, we have ourselves some interesting example already utilized. For example, we're collecting, helping researchers on the field to collect pictures from camera traps that they pose in the forest, and artificial intelligence can help identify whether those pictures are of the same animal. So they will help to have a better estimate of how many animals are in the forest, and so monitor the trends over time. One other example is to have similar artificial intelligence applied to systems of monitoring poachers in protected areas, able to identify the behaviors or even the faces of some of these individuals, and helping rangers and law enforcement to take action. So these are just two examples, but many others are available already.
What is WWF's vision of a successful European Green Deal, and how are you collaborating with various organizations to help achieve this?
Yeah, so first of all, let me say we absolutely commend the European Commission, the European Union, for embracing this very powerful and vision of a Green New Deal, and we need that type of leadership at this point in time in the world, and we're really grateful to the European Union for that. It's ambitious. Of course, we are asking certain particular dimension. We're asking for more, but in itself already very ambitious. The focus has to be on implementation. Whether we're talking about the climate law that is under discussion right now, or the biodiversity plan, the farm to fork strategy, which is about food, and now we develop food in a healthy and sustainable way. All these dimensions of the European Green Deal need strong political will and determination to be implemented. That's super important. So implementation, focus on implementation is essential. And the second essential part is focus on investment, making sure that these policies, these new goals are actually adequately resourced through the various mechanisms that exist already in the European Union, but also through additional resources and investment, as well as redirection of the current European Union budget towards green incentives and green investments, including, in fact, also the COVID-19 recovery plan. The hundreds of billions of euros that are discussed and invested in the economy to recover after the COVID crisis could really be a major, super powerful stimulus to shift towards a green economy. Green economy that means effectively to continue to grow and develop and create jobs, but not destroying the environment. So shifting from harmful activities, for example, fossil fuel, to non-harmful activities, for example, renewable energy, for chemical agriculture to biological agriculture, organic agriculture. And all that requires a transition that has to be just and carefully planned, but ultimately will provide even more resources and even more economy and even more jobs than the current system provides. So implementation and financing, two key dimensions for the success of the green economy.
Another aspect to take into consideration in this discussion towards the green economy is the accessibility to various technologies and solutions that can actually lead us to a more sustainable and green economy, but also people need to be equipped with the right skills. So what skills do organizations need, according to you, in order to achieve a green transition towards our economies? Does your organization have perhaps a special program which focuses on the promotion of green skills?
Thank you. So the two dimensions to your question. The first one is about the skills that an organization like WWF and many other organizations, stakeholders in this process of driving society towards a sustainable future, needs to have ourselves inside our own operations. And it's true that an organization like WWF over the last maybe 10, 20 years has increased to increasingly diversified our skill set in our staff, in our teams. Today we work on wildlife, so we have field biologists, but also we work on finances, financial flows. So we have people coming from economy and the finance sector. We have people dealing with corporates, driving sustainability. We have people working on issues related to food production. So definitely an organization that aims to contribute to the sustainable agenda as a whole needs to diversify skills. Then the other dimension to your question is what skills needs to actually exist and or perhaps evolve in society. And when we talk about changing the economy to a green economy, when you talk about a new Green Deal, we're talking about effectively a transition from today, where the economic model is developing at the expenses of the environment, to a model where the economy will continue to grow in harmony with the environment, protecting the environment, in fact, protecting the foundation that allows the economy to be thriving. So, though that transition is to be just, is to be politically well planned and economically well planned, and is to really shift workforce from one sector, the old way of doing things, to sectors that do things in the new way, sustainable and green. And so that kind of transition is to be carefully planned, and individuals needs to, if you like, shift to new jobs, and particularly young people will have a great opportunity in the next few years to increasingly find green jobs that can give them what they need to live for their own prosperity and lifestyles, but at the same time give them a great sense of purpose, because will be jobs that will not destroy our planet.
Well, it's been great having you as a guest on our Huawei European Talks today, Marco. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That's all for now. I hope you'll join us next time for a new edition of Huawei European Talks. To follow our discussions online, you can follow the hashtag Huawei European Talks, but also on Twitter at HuaweiEU. Thank you.
Thank you.